This is how to make a Sematary beat. I started off by sampling this song. I took it, I cut it up, I pitched it up 400 cents. I used auto key to get the key of the new sample. It sounds like this. On that I have OTT, I have an EQ to cut the lows and some of the highs, a decapitator, and a Valhalla vintage verb, stereo separation a little bit. It's then sent to this track with guitar rig on, with lazy tune preset. Sounds like this without. It sounds like this with it. Then I did this bass, which just follows C major because that's what the beat's in. It's 132 BPM. Then I added this, which is like a synth. So in like Sematary songs, he always like kind of seems to go to higher notes the further down he goes in the pattern. So that's kind of why I did that. Then we got this one, which I think is the final like sound for the melodies and shit. So yeah, they don't have an awful lot on the mix. I just kind of, remove lows from what doesn't need lows. I usually put a wave shaper on the bass. And then we move on to the drums. This is what I have for the drums. So this is where it gets more trappy, whereas like the melodies is where like he draws the inspiration from like Witch House a lot of the time. Okay, so kind of simple to start with the kick. Yep. Nothing to really explain about that. Sometimes I put an intensity on the kick, it makes it a bit more saturated, a bit better. Then obviously I could do the 808 for now because like we're on the same kind of line. I usually just kind of copy the pattern of the kick with the 808. What you want to do is sidechain the kick to the 808. So it'll be like, this is the kick, you right click down here, you press sidechain to this track, come over here, add a limiter, sidechain 1, then half threshold, just kind of copy these settings, it kind of makes a good sidechain. On the 808 I got a fastest, I got the EQ, I pushed it up a bit, it makes it like have that clip sound. Intensity on that as well. On the master I always use a soft clipper, I recommend that too. Then I got the snare. I do these like higher pitched snares because that's like quite common in Witch House too. So this is the pattern for the snare. So yeah, that's that. It's a 2-step hi-hat, so it's hella simple. Not really much I can say. Same with the open hats, like they're just, standard kind of placements. And a crash at the start of each like pattern. You don't have to do a lot with the mixing if the sound selection is like really good. And I usually just kind of do some distortions, some like reverbs, some delays on these kind of sounds. Which brings it all together. Make sure you sidechain everything. Air horns, because you need the air horns if you're doing Sematary shit. But yeah. Now the vocals. So I just did one recording With the vocals, you kind of want like an auto tune, but like you don't want it to be too much. You want a high retune speed and some humanize on it. EQ, you just want to remove bad frequencies. Like there was a lot in the highs of this one. Get rid of the lows. The main thing you want to focus on as well is like compressor settings and like these plugins, because he uses a lot of these ones. A little bit of distortion, and the delay is quite important too. You want a little bit of it. Get rid of some highs, a little bit of the lows, but you don't want to completely remove the lows, which is what I usually would do in mixes. But because it's Sematary's vocals, you can't just remove them all, otherwise it removes the sound. Then I have them sent to side tracks, which I just pan left and right with a bit of separation. Get rid of all of the lows, a lot of the highs and mids, and a de-esser to also kind of like keep the sides less harsh. Also sent here just to make it a bit louder with another de-esser and some cuts, but that's about it. You can buy this preset, link in the description. There'll be a link. But yeah, I'll show you it now. Also, what I did here was I duplicated the vocal track. I pressed this button here and made it unique. Opened it up and went to these effects tab. Stereo delay, you want to make it like 1 to 2%. Fuck around with this, but the further up you go, like the more it just sounds offbeat. But that also helps it sound like an extra like layer. Or you can also duplicate the mixer track and pan the mixer track to the left and right, and then record extra layers, which is what I imagine Sematary does. But yeah, so that's kind of it for the tutorial. I'll make more on like Rainbow Bridge 3 sound and the newer style of sound. If you want to buy the beat, it is in the description. The vocal preset will be in the description as well, along with a drum kit for the sounds of like Sematary and sounds that he would use. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment of what you think, if it helped or anything. And yeah.